Should we be concerned, or are we just paranoid? Hello and welcome back to episode 15 of the Prepper Network podcast, where we debate and discuss recent global events and the rising tensions in the world due to recent conflicts. My name's Lewis, along with Frank and Jim. Take it away, Frank.
Fuel prices absolutely gone ridiculous. How am I going to get to my job? Oh, hang on. My country told me to stay at home and work from home the other day, and they're telling everybody to do the same. Plus, they're going to ration. So you might get 30 euros a month of fuel, and I'd say this is an opening for the fucking digital card to come in. I bet you that's on the way. What do you think, guys?
What did you say? The digital?
If they come in, they'll introduce the digital ID. Oh, you need that to get fuel, and without that, you can't get fuel. This is a perfect opportunity. If I was them, I'd do it.
Oh, so you mean you're thinking about the rationing? Okay, so rationing in the way that you are just allowed to have 50 liters per month or something like that. Interesting. I don't think we are gonna see that here. I frankly don't think that we are going to see so much shortages here. What I do expect, though, is that it's going to be expensive. And I don't mean just fuel. I mean, everything is going to be expensive because everything somewhere down the line relies on fuel. So I think we will see the inflation that we were so happy that it was topping off. I think we will see a rise in inflation, but I don't expect major shortages of really anything here. I do, however, kind of like the same situation as when the Ever Given was stuck in the Suez Canal. It was a bit of Swinglish here. So some products might be missing, like, they can't make the lid for the nacho cheese or something like that. So I think we will see shortages that are very specific and hard to see in advance. But I don't think we're gonna see major shortages that is vital.
I see. No. I see. It's a great opportunity. Opportunity for businesses to come and just gazump us.
I think Frank's got a good point here. It's like a famous speech that Russell Brand said once when he went on to a talk show. I have to find the video and send it to you guys. But he mentioned they leverage these crises to implement certain rules and regulations. They don't like to do it on purpose, but they use these things to leverage and get what they want. And he was saying in this speech, he said something like, when pharmaceutical companies benefit from a medical crisis, and military companies and contractors benefit from, a war crisis, and when energy companies benefit from an energy crisis, you end up in a state of constant crisis because they need these crises, these events to be able to benefit. So it's just a never-ending thing. And then they implement these rules and regulations that, we'll save you. And it's just a never-ending story.
But hasn't that been the case since forever now? I mean, the US I know Donald Trump has been talking about ending a lot of wars, but I don't really see him ending any wars. I see him starting wars now when their troops are,
The other day he just said, take a bit of pain. Take a bit of, the prices will be high for a week or two. Just take it, he says. But you know what's going to happen in a week or two. That's going to go to 4 months, 5 months. But in fairness, we can refer back to Ukraine. The same thing happened. Gas went up through the roof, but everything came back down and stabilized.
I think it's going to be a lot longer than a few weeks. I follow a guy on Facebook called Mr. Global. He's working or has been working in the oil business for, I guess, a long time, and he's really on. I think he's really on point with a lot of stuff. But what he says is that when they closed the Strait of Hormuz close to Iran, 20% of global oil production was shipped through that strait. And when that got, it didn't take much to close the strait. It was enough that they set kind of like one ship ablaze. Then no civilian ship will go there. I mean, I wouldn't if I was.
The insurance companies pulled. their insurance. So no ship is
Yeah,
allowed touched. They're not
that as
insured.
well. But even if they didn't pull it, I don't want to be the ship that tests to go through the strait when it could come
No,
a missile or a drone. I just wouldn't do it because it wouldn't be worth my life. And it's not the same with like it's impassable. It's psychology. I mean, warships can go there, but civilian ships, most civilian ships won't. Or are they gonna trust like, oh, come through here, we will protect you, I promise. Yeah, how many percent of incoming missiles or drones can they shoot down? It's not 100%.
no. But the thing is, this was predicted. This would happen way before the war.
Yes.
I was watching,
He was told.
I was watching the build up, and it said if a war breaks out, the first thing Iran will do is shut that up.
Yes.
Um, so they knew this was going to happen, and this is the thing. But I going back to what you mentioned earlier about about Trump stopping wars and all this sort of stuff. I generally think that before he got into power, I don't think this is what he wanted, but I think the powers are above. It doesn't matter whether it's Democrats, whether it's Republicans, whether whoever it is, they are not in power. They're just the front. You've got military contractors, you've got Israel, you've got the investment companies. It's them that pull the strings. So someone can go into power and go, right, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. There's been so many U-turns, and it's because these powers at play, they have so much power upon these prime ministers, presidents, that they haven't a choice, right? And this is where things have to change. These deep states have to get gone because with all these deep states in power, there is no democracy because they'll say one thing and do another. And like, what's the point in voting if that's the case? It's a new it's a new
I'm not
world order.
yeah, I'm not really sure that I think I'm not so convinced. I think that Donald Trump has been very open with he's out of to make a profit for him and for private companies. So I think it's been very clear that he does this to profit big corporations. Then yes, a lot of American politicians, at least American politicians, have done kind of this thing before, but not been open with it. So it's I guess it's honest in some way that I think it's really bad, but I think a lot of it is self-interest and not the interest of the country. So I agree with you, Lewis, that there are a lot of powers at play. I just don't think that Donald Trump is a puppet.
I think to a certain extent he is. Hey, listen, they're all prime ministers and presidents, whatever. They're all there to make money. But the way to fix that would be to stop insider trading, and that you watch that stop
Mm.
quickly because before a war breaks out, they all know it's going to happen, and they all start investing into these military contracting companies because they know they're going to make shitloads of money. With the whole Gaza thing, the plans to rebuild Gaza, BlackRock were already planning that way before it happened, and the same thing
Oh
with
yeah.
Ukraine and all that sort of stuff. And so BlackRock, for example, they're just one of the powers at play, and they have loads of control over any government because they say, okay, we want you to do this. Donald Trump says, I ain't going to do that. And BlackRock says, well, do you know what? I'll take all this money and I'll put it somewhere else then. And the
Yeah.
country, they have to do it. And they're like, well, no, because then the country will just plummet, and because that's billions of dollars that are going elsewhere. So they have so much power. And it's the same with, this whole Israel thing. Israel have the states by the balls. And it was clear to say, because at one point, Trump was saying, listen, we're not going to get involved. And then 2 days later, he was getting involved. So, what kind of, well, we all know, like, there's the Epstein conspiracy with, who's a Mossad agent and was gathering intel on all these prime ministers and stuff properly for this sort of thing. Because Israel have been wanting the States to get involved with Iran and give Israel the green light for Iran for decades. If you look through the history and all the speeches, they've been wanting this for ages. And Netanyahu actually admitted that the other day, saying, this is something that we've been wanting to do for decades. So, the fact that all this Epstein stuff's coming out now, and then all of a sudden everyone's doing a U-turn, it's a bit suspicious. So I think, yeah, I don't think prime ministers and presidents in not in every country, but in quite a few countries have much power because they have so much dirt on them and all these powers at play. And that's my input anyway, but that's what I think.
regardless of how we got in this mess. So my take on it is that when the Strait of Hormuz got closed, and so we lost 20% or how much it is of the
Yeah, about 20%.
deliveries of oil and natural gas, then countries need to tap into their reserves, or either releasing them to the market or selling them to the market. Regardless of which, this oil and gas needs to be replaced. And that's going to take years, which means that even if this issue gets resolved quickly, it will take years for the price to settle down because large chunk of the incoming oil will be need to be bought and put into storage. So we are going to have higher energy prices for a long time, years
Well, the
in
UK
front
could
of us.
fix that. The UK could fix or be a big help for this issue almost instantly. They could tap into the North Sea quite easily. The UK. I think that's probably what's going to happen. 'Cause I know even Trump was digging at the UK Prime Minister, saying, "Oh, you know, you're stupid because you're buying your oil when you've got access to the North Sea right above you. Stupid." Which, you know, to
Yeah.
that it is stupid, really. But yeah, I mean, I reckon that might.
But it takes a lot of time to get it started. I mean, a lot of these oil platforms, drilling platforms, they are and pumping platforms. It takes a. You don't make them overnight. You don't build them overnight. It takes years to get.
Well, yeah.
So even if they do, it's gonna take a long time. So I think we have to. If I'm gonna be positive about it, if I'm gonna see the positive side, then I would say, oh, this will become a push for other renewable energy alternatives, and that they will be pushed so hard with subsidies and stuff like that that they become really affordable, and that will and
Definitely
we
be a
will
push for
elect.
electric vehicles anyway.
Yeah, so you will electrify more, but also this takes time. So I don't see a scenario where prices are gonna go down quickly. They will go down, just not
Yeah,
quickly.
but
They go up,
I
hammer down like a feather.
I don't think this is going to be resolved quickly. I think this is going to be another one of those, unfortunately, one of those long drawn out wars. Iran, I'm not giving up anytime soon. Neither of the states. Everyone's going to get dragged into it. But you know, I think it would be a push for, yes, renewable options, but I don't think these renewable options are always that reliable unless, but yeah, I think maybe if countries can start becoming more independent, like the UK, for example, stop buying their oil and actually start producing their own oil. And that's a long term option that will make them more independent. And also that will help Europe a lot too, because then they haven't got to rely on these Middle Eastern countries for their oil. So I think that's a great thing. And obviously, but yeah, like you say, it's not going to be no quick fix, unfortunately.
Do you think this is the start of a really, really large conflict in the Middle East with, like, I mean, true military conflict with an armed conflict, like boots on the ground, several nations involved? Or is this what we are seeing ahead of us, or will it kind of fade down and be some kind of diplomatic stuff, and we will still have an economy that is bad, but how do you guys think it will play out
They said
with like
it's
the
possibly
war
gonna
part?
be boots on the ground in an island called CART, CKHART, which is the main, fueling depot. Trump himself said there will be boots on the ground there, but maybe not yet in Iran. So it's who knows? He has to get permission from Congress now from here on in because they have to, fund it all. So I think he took the wrong advice. He just went in, bullied his way in, thinking that Iran would be finished in a day, and he made a mistake again. So it's like, what were we? Didn't Trump say when he was getting into power on the second time that he'd stop the Ukraine war within a day or two or a
Yeah,
week?
24 hours.
How long is he in? What has he done? They're still fighting.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
I don't know. I think there was a message put out to the veterans. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
And they want them to come
And they
back.
were saying they were basically putting in or
I
making it
heard this. Yeah.
attractive for previous veterans to sign back up.
Yes.
And look, I'm not
Some of the guys
sure
are
what
talking about.
I'm not sure what that sounds like to you, but that sounds like the beginning of a draft to me. That's like the first part of the draft. Get all the old ex-veterans to sign back up by, giving them benefits, and then make it obligatory, and then, like, it's just the start of it all. So I can't, if they're doing that, I can't, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be a peaceful thing for me.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't
A lot
have.
of the vets, sorry, the vets that have their podcast there with some of the UK vets, there's 4 of them, they do it every Tuesday, and they were laughing at the thoughts of it because if you're under 63, they can draw you back up again. They can get you back into train, the young lads or whatever, but like they say, who wants to fight for England at the moment? Do you wanna go and die for Keir Starmer? I don't think so. It's not exactly
I don't know
incentive.
of course, the numbers of how many are in the US military, but I think this, how they are now trying to draw people back in to the armed forces, like with the, you can come back and the contract will be for 2 years instead of 4 years. And I think, I don't know how much the pay was, but it was a lot of incentives. What I think is that when Trump came to power this time, his second term, and with Pete Hegseth, they did a lot of stuff that made people quit. So they threw
Yeah,
some people out and they made a lot of people quit. So something I've noticed is that military YouTubers, I see military YouTubers that announce that they will that quit their military service. So
mm,
not stating why, but I think they have lost a lot of people. So I'm not sure about their going towards a draft because they need manpower for new war, but I think the ranks are thinning because of their politics.
but they
Well,
don't have
but
any of the machinery, up-to-date machinery either. One guy did say the other day that when he came out of Afghanistan the last time he was out there, and he's retired now, he gave his armor, his metal jacket to a new guy coming in, and when the new guy was leaving, he gave his and so on, and they handed off these jackets because they didn't have enough of them. If that's true or not, I don't know. It's the same with the guns. The guns are all old stuff, they have nothing new. This is a UK
In
army now.
Oh, the UK. Okay. Yeah. So I know very little about the British
no, it's
armed
true.
forces, but
My like I say, my brother's in the was in the British Army, and their equipment, they're really thin on equipment. But the thing is, put it this way, right? So going back to what I said earlier about, the deep states and no one really being in power, and these prime ministers and presidents not having um really much say anything. They have a certain line of power, of course. They can make some decisions, but these decisions can be overrun and U-turned with with a couple of emails from certain upper powers above them, which makes them go back on what they promised the population. All right. So if these things are happening every single term now, because everyone was pretty much convinced of Trump this time, all right, he might be the perfect person to have in power. Definitely not. But we've just had a term with some old guy who can't even walk straight, picking the best out the
Is he still
two.
alive even?
Yeah, picking the best out of the two. He's probably like the best one out the two of them, right? So you haven't really got much to choose from. So of course they're going to vote for like Trump. A lot of people were convinced, but then obviously now a lot of the Trump voters feel betrayed. All right, which is normal. Okay, and a lot of people with the UK Prime Minister now feel also betrayed. So if every person you vote for, you just feel feeling betrayed, then like no one's gonna vote anymore. Everyone's like, what's the point in voting? What's the point in fighting for these people? Because they don't give anything to us, so why should we give back to them? So people should have some sort of ownership to their country, but I don't think people feel like they have any kind of ownership no more because they don't give them anything. What you vote for, you don't get. So everyone just feels betrayed. So who's gonna fight?
but was really, I mean, I know that if you go to US politics, I know that of course the Republicans were not fans of either Obama or Biden, but were really the Democratic Party voters, were they really disappointed with either Obama or Biden? That's not the what I've noticed. what I've seen, they've been pretty happy. Of course, Republicans weren't happy. And if you go to
Never happy.
if you go to British politics, I don't know. So it's one thing when there's like an uproar because a lot of people are not happy. It's another thing when the voters that voted for that party, when they are not happy. So what I see
Yeah,
here is right now in Sweden, there are a lot of people that voted for the sitting government and they are not happy, but not from these issues, from other issues. But with the last government, a lot of people were unhappy as well, but I'm not convinced it was the voters for that government that was unhappy. It was other people that were unhappy. So I don't really share the experience that all of the politicians have disappointed a majority of their voters.
maybe not in the States for everybody. I know in the UK it's very much that way because, well, let's put it this way: a lot of the prime ministers recently haven't even been voted in in the UK. It's just complicated. I don't think. I mean, how could you? How could you have been happy with Biden? I
Why
mean, the
not?
guy could.
I mean, I see his biggest problem was that he was kind of bland, a little bit like Starmer can be sometimes.
It was boring.
It's
Boring.
like the boring and gray and brown, and it doesn't make much fuss and doesn't happen so much. And when something happens, it isn't spectacular.
It's not that. It's just like, how can you? He couldn't even talk straight. He looked like he should be in an old people's home. There
Yeah,
should
I think
Yeah.
be.
he started a conversation and he wavered off.
Yeah, and he should be like, there should be a law against that. I think we should go back to having younger prime ministers, younger presidents, because I
Yes, I agree, and I agree mostly because even if let's say uh, let's say you're 80 years old, but you are completely your mind is all there. Your mind is all
yeah,
there. There's no problem with that. You still have like your body is old. You will need more rest. You won't have the stamina like for example with a 50-year-old. So for that reason, I think we should be careful. It's hard with like age discrimination and stuff, but you see the same with Trump now. I'm fully convinced that Trump has at least early stages of dementia. I mean, he's trailing off. He's walking in the wrong
yeah,
directions. He wears the wrong clothes. He doesn't know where to go. He says strange things. He just stood up in a meeting with the oil barons. Let's call them oil barons, and it's just walked over to the window and started talking about the construction site. I mean,
yeah,
so think
But on a good
Biden
note, that means he
wasn't.
won't do 4 more years.
Yeah, I think Biden wasn't up for another term. I think it was good that he quit. That he.
He had to go, sure. He made comments during his run for presidency, and he made comments, and everybody could see it. Everybody could see it, bar him. So
But I
he
think
did pull
Trump
out
should have
after that.
as well. I think Trump should at the same age.
Who's going to go after Trump, though? What's coming next?
Yeah, I don't know, but
What's the name of the vice president? Vance, JD Vance.
I
yeah,
mean,
By
it's
the way,
it's
I love
bad
Trump.
to
Just
have
in case anybody's listening from America,
it's
and
bad
I
to
want to
have a
go to
bad
America
guy
next year. We're here.
as president, but it's
Yeah,
worse
lads.
to have a bad guy that's also also has dementia. I mean, he's the only, as far as I know,
Offline here for some reason.
maybe maybe he and Kim Jong Un that are the only two people in the world that personally can send nukes. I mean, Russia has that at least 4 people need to sign off on it.
like, I also think Putin is crazy, but, as bad as he is and everything, at least he has, like, half a brain cell, and he's still, like, he's still got his mind, whereas, like, the others are just fucking insane. It's dangerous when someone, like you say, has dementia or he's clearly mentally not well. Yeah, Putin, I don't think he's all there. It's not down to sickness or whatever.
He's getting up there as well. What age is he?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know.
They are. I think he's getting up there as well. I'm not sure he has hit 80,
But
but
the
he's
thing
getting older
is
as well.
yeah, but the thing is with countries like uh, Russia.
73.
I don't think they have much of a deep state. If a decision is made, it's made by Putin. But the thing is, with like I say, the UK and America especially, like I don't think it matters who goes in because it's just going to be the same shit, different toilet because they're not really the ones in power.
Yeah, the oligarchs.
Yeah, and that's the dangerous thing because it's just a front. I mean,
He's been in power now since 1999. That's 27 years.
wow, that's
Putin, and he's
crazy.
73.
All
Yeah,
of his all of
in a
his
democracy.
oppositions go missing or end up in prison.
Well, one of them committed suicide by shooting himself and throwing himself out the window. I mean,
Yeah,
really feel sorry for that poor guy. And the other guy fell on top of a mattress, but the mattress was moved. Yeah. And what the other lad, Sarin, in a prison in the gulags,
yeah.
he is the best chance of getting on. He came back from Germany. What was he thinking? He must have thought he had a good run.
Yeah, he ended up in prison.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't remember what his name was now.
Was he the guy that was killed also in
Yes.
prison? Yeah.
He slipped on a banana skin. No, do you know? A South American frog killed him in Siberia in the middle of winter, as they do.
Yeah,
They hibernate in Siberia, apparently. Because the
crazy.
frogs used to kill him, the frog
But
poison
if
arrow.
it's I
Don't
don't
make
know.
this shit up.
So so okay. So there's a lot of regardless of what the background is, there's a lot of bad stuff going on. But there's a lot of movement in Europe. Europe is getting closer knit together, and military spending is going way up.
Yeah. Even Ireland, they got an
Yeah,
extra billion.
yes. So what are your predictions for what will happen with Europe and Europe's stance in global politics?
Well, the Irish, I'm just gonna emphasize the Irish for the moment because that's who I know. All of our DPM, which is Irish DPM for the last 20 years, has been changed now, swapped out for the NATO DPM.
So
We're getting
DPM, what does that mean?
that's your colors, your national colors on your camouflage.
Oh, okay, okay.
Uh, it's called something DP I'll come to me now in a second. But we don't have any jets we don't have an air force. They're buying 3 jets. They're upgrading the radar right around the country because of the Russian trawlers there only lately. I know that they're after increasing ammunition that's coming through a port very close to where I live, because they had to get planning permission to bring that into the country because it's ammunition, obviously explosives. So they're getting ready for something. Oh, and there's a huge advertising campaign on the TV and radio and newspapers, trying to get people, including our friends that are coming in from a holiday, the doctors and engineers. Can you imagine giving one of them a gun and he turns around and just shoots us? They're great. We're in trouble. The whole of Europe is in trouble. That's the
I
fucking world is going down the Swanee again.
I think that okay, so I'm gonna make a wild prediction now, a wild
Okay,
prediction.
tarot cards out.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say I don't know how likely it is, but what if there was a carbon copy of NATO? So like you take the organization, you take all the paperwork, all the routines and stuff, and
You're talking about
you
Trump.
just make a copy of it and you
Yeah,
call
Trump
it
is making
some
it called the Peace
no,
Organization
no,
or
no,
something.
no, 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 no. You call it something else, and you write everything that has with the United States off. So it's instead of kicking the United States out of NATO, you make a new alliance that is the same thing but without the United States. So you have Europe and you have Canada, and Canada says fuck off to the US and cancels their F-35 jets, and they buy Swedish Gripens instead, and they band together with Europe to defend Greenland and the polar region. And what would happen then? So and you and the US they say, oh no, we're not having this, so we're backing out of all our military bases in Europe, which I don't think they will because they need them to project power on the other side of the earth. So they might, let's say they really try to condense them into a few places. With
I think there's more chance of them going to war with Canada and starting a war
yeah, do
there
you really?
if that happens. Well, sure, it's insane that the world is separating from the United States quite a lot. I don't think it's not really the best thing, but it's not a complete negative thing either, because I don't think it's very healthy that Europe relies on the States so much. I think it's good that Europe and other countries become more independent. But obviously, there has to be very carefully done as well, because obviously, then it could start other conflicts.
Yeah.
Because obviously, it then becomes, well, the United States against Europe and other countries, and then
We don't want
and then
that.
the Middle East against everyone else, and then everyone. It just becomes a complete clusterfuck.
I
I
think
just think we
that
need it. We need a proper good old World War III. Let's nuke the whole place. Just start again. 'Cause I have a bunker up the road. Let's go. Bring it on.
I think that Donald Trump and his administration they have really misunderstood the American role in Europe and how much the US has benefited from it. They always talk about how much they've paid for everything and that Europeans have paid for nothing. But what I think they have done is that they have promised Europe to keep Europe safe, and in return, Europe has a very fragmented defense and small defense, and with the military, a lot of the military equipment gets bought from the United States. So the United States get like small, like minions, minions, like following of smaller nations that are just saying hallelujah and amen to everything that the US says and pose no threat to the US, and helps out whenever something happens. And the benefit goes to the US. And that is a fundamental thing that I think that the current White House administration has understood wrong. They just see their military spending and say, "Oh, we don't. Europe doesn't spend." No, Europe doesn't spend because the United States don't want Europe to spend that amount of money on the defense, because it's safer and more beneficial for the US if the US projects power instead. That's my
It's
take
like
on
the old
it.
mafia shops and businesses paying protection to the mafia sort of
Yeah, a
thing.
little bit like that.
Extortion.
A li-
Yeah, but the thing is, though, it's quite funny. That's why I quite give credit to Giorgia Meloni, Italian Prime Minister, because she is not one to be controlled by anyone really, and she's been standing up. Because when Trump went around and said to everyone, "Well, the UK didn't really get involved with Afghanistan; they stood back from the front lines, and European countries stood back from the front lines, and
Yeah, what
and they haven't
bullshit.
and they haven't really done much." Giorgia Meloni would like, "Oh, really? Well, if the US and the EU, if the EU isn't anything without the US, then how about I close all the McDonald's that we have and how about we close all the military bases in Italy because there's loads of them." And she said that to Trump, and yeah, he didn't really have a response for that. So so
Yeah.
yeah, good on her. So yeah, I don't think everything he's done so far in this term has been wrong, but what he's doing right now, he's going about things the wrong way.
The wrong way.
But
Yeah.
some of it's not totally incorrect, but the way he's doing it is just a complete clusterfuck.
Something that you have to keep in mind is that you can have several undesirable factors at the same time, and just because you don't like one of them, it doesn't have to mean that you have to like the other one. So, for instance, you don't have to like the Islamic government in Iran to think that it's improper to bomb the country.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't have to, and it's the same way in Israel, because have to you don't have to think that what Hamas is doing is correct to say that Israel would be stepping too far in Gaza. I mean, you don't have to agree or disagree. I mean, several things can be true at the same time.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. I don't like the Islamic regime. I think the world will be a lot better place without them, because they've been causing a lot of trouble around Europe and other countries, and it's a known fact. And it's a known fact that they extort a lot of the other countries in the Middle East, and they oppress a lot of people, and they've caused a lot of millions of deaths across the Middle East and torment and live for years and years and years. So I think if you got rid of them, you'd solve a lot of problems. However,
Absolutely.
how you go about that is because you have to tread very carefully. I mean, so because you cut if you get rid of one person, there's about 10 people in line waiting to take their place.
I would
You
say
know,
that in Iran right now, it's not 10 people, it's 1,000 people.
yeah, and the thing is, the way you go about it, you're going to radicalize. If this
Yeah,
happened,
just as worse.
this happened in Iraq, yeah. All right, everyone knows there's no secret now that there were no weapons of mass destruction. It was all a lie.
Yeah.
Everything else, right? There's no secret now with the cards on the table. There's documents for documents to say that now. So we all know we're allowed to. But let's say it wasn't a lie. Okay, let's say it was all legitimate. You going in there and bombing them, whatever, you're going to radicalize a lot of people, and it's wrong. Okay, we all know it's wrong, right?
Yeah.
You can do with the money that the US has now. They could send a special team in, like they did in Venezuela, and capture someone under the dead of night, bomb, and in and out. Yeah, okay, they have the power to do that. So there's no real need to do a lot of the things they did, because you radicalize people. All right, you're going to radicalize a lot of people,
You
and
can't fight
and
against
then
that.
right at that time they open the borders to Europe.
Yeah.
So if
I mean, what were they drinking?
yeah, do you know what I mean? So you're going to radicalize a load of people in the Middle East and then open your borders. Nice one, mate.
Did they not find a couple of containers of AKs heading into England there recently?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's exactly.
and a guy in
It's
Manchester, Rochdale, was found with
yeah, yeah.
hand grenades on him. He threw a hand grenade, it didn't
It's
go off for some
But the
reason.
thing is, it's crazy. Like, but not only that, you then because no one voted for that stuff. No one voted if you to go to Iran and bomb loads of people, whatever. No one voted for that. Number one, and if it was a true democracy, people would have to vote on that sort of stuff. But no one did. That's number one. Number two, when you do that, at least you're going to protect the people in the country after you've done that, not open the borders and like, all right, let's radicalize load of people, and now it's the citizens of the UK and Europe that are going to pay for it. Where's the sense in that? It's just absolutely insane. So yeah, I think the way they're going about things are just it's wrong.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of countries they are very quick to go to projecting hard power, underestimating the power of soft power. If you look at what from after the Second World War, what the Americans did in Europe was really super hard push for projecting soft power, and it was hugely successful. I mean, they've pretty much Americanized the entire Europe with like political, like a Western political system, and seeing the United States as something good and an ally.
Used to be.
Yeah, it used to be
People are scared to
until
go.
now.
People are scared to go there now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. So I mean, it was hugely successful. Instead of, if you think let's say the alternative, they think that Europeans after the Second World War, Europe is unstable, and Europe is like the Middle East, where it can blossom up and be a conflict at any time. I mean, it was like that. I mean, we had the First World War, we had the Second World War. I mean, it was fighting within the European countries, between the European countries. So they could have projected hard power and say like, we'll take over this, and they kind of started that way. US and Russia, like dividing up the dividing up Europe, but then United States projected more of the soft power and kind of won the hearts and minds of the Europeans. So Europe chose Western ideology. And I see China doing a lot of this. And I see China doing a lot of this here in Europe. You see a lot of stuff like positive things about China and Chinese culture, and it's a projection of that part. Then you have like China has the fist as well. They have the hard power too. That's not very nice.
They're not pussies when it comes to putting the foot down.
No, no,
They
no.
don't want any mosques, get out, they'll knock
Yes.
them down. They don't want anybody praying on the street,
So they are
run 'em over with a jeep.
they are not afraid of using their hard power. But what I'm seeing is I see they are playing the long game and they are projecting soft power. And I think in the long run, if you don't look 4 years forward, but you look 100 years forward, I think soft power is way more successful for you. But you have to then have the long perspective, and a lot of countries don't have the long perspective. Have like own their own mm, what's it called when they are in power, their cycle.
It's interesting you say about the soft power because I think that's what the Islamic regime are doing in the UK right now. I think that's
Maybe.
why I think that's why, rather than, because they could quite easily. There's a lot of extremists in the UK right now, but rather than that, they're like, wiggling their ways into places of power and this or that, and doing it that way.
Yeah, but the good thing about soft power is that because you change people with soft power and hard power. With hard power, you often change people to oppose you, but with soft power, you make people be like you. So with soft power, you befriend people, and of course, some people will do this maliciously, of course, but I would say that if you look at this not personally, but you look at this from like a national and international perspective, you're trying to influence people to um, to be like you. So it's not dangerous in the same way.
Yeah, yeah, kick off.
Um, and I think I think there's a difference when you try to project that you want to govern over someone else, or rather than that you want to share a culture.
Yeah, well, I think I don't think any of us voted in Ursula van der Gaard, Veld, Ursula anyway.
Ursula von der Leyen.
Yes, we didn't vote on her in, and she's just telling our governments what to do. So what the hell are we voting our governments in for? It's
But
just a waste.
are really
This is Ireland you're looking at here now, so I'm just playing a clip for people listening that it's Irish GAA pitches, and the GAA is the Gaelic Athletic Association, and the rule of the GAA in Ireland is you're not allowed to play any other sport or have any other affiliation with anything, and it's a rule from 1922, and especially dictates that English people can't come and play football or we can't play soccer or rugby or anything like that on that pitch. What are they doing right there on that pitch? It's like holy ground. They're having fucking Ramadan meetings, and there's thousands of them. And this is all over Ireland on 2 days ago.
yeah,
And
I have no idea about that, but
I have no vote in this.
I don't
I'm looking at
my
these.
my opinion on I don't have such a strong opinion on Ursula von der Leyen as you guys have. She has really not made uh, any big impact on me. I don't really. What's her position? She's like the chair of
She's the
the.
top. She's the CEO of Europe.
No, no, not the CEO, but because politicians doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
But
well,
she's
if she was a
she's chair
company,
of
she'd be the top
the shareholder of the European Commission.
chairperson. Yes.
So what is it what Orban was before? Because they
She's
were
No,
the host nation.
she's basically, what I know a lot of is she works a lot with Bill Gates. I know that
Yeah,
much,
but what
and
is her title?
she's I don't know, she's in she like the
Lead commissioner? No, she's okay. She is the chair of the European Commission.
yes,
yeah, they're the chair, yeah.
European Union.
No, no, not the European Union, the Commission. So they have
Well, it's the
seven.
same thing. It's the same thing. They run it, and that's it. As
Yeah,
far as
but
I'm
it's
concerned.
like you
She
have
never got voted in.
Yeah, she did get voted in.
There's no public voting for her. The job was offered to take it. Who's she working for? There you go, your new world order and
Uh,
stuff.
let's see, she's German and she is from the no, sorry, she is from Brussels in Belgium. No,
You seen
yeah,
what I'm
she's
showing
from
you there?
there, but she's a German politician, and so she was voted in to the
By who?
European uh, st- to the
By the
European Commission,
MEPs.
and then her party, the German liberal I don't know what a liberal conservative is, but that's their party. And she is in the European Union. They group the parties together so that they uh, can vote on stuff, because otherwise they would be too fractured. And I guess that they made alliances to become the majority, and then they chose one of their own as the chairperson of the European Commission. So she very much voted in, but we don't vote. We vote for our own commissioners. So I vote for the Swedish commissioners, and you, Frank, vote for the Irish, and Louis,
Green Party.
you don't get to vote at all, I guess, because
St. Louis does, yeah. You can transfer the European vote, so yeah, you're entitled to vote anywhere in Europe,
no,
I'd
because
imagine.
the
No?
British are not in the EU,
Oh,
and
that's right. Sorry.
and
Sorry, Lewis. We don't
and
like you. Back off.
Louis is an immigrant in Italy.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's one of the biggest
Bleeding immigrants.
scams in the UK because they're not in Europe, but they have to abide by the EU laws and still governed under
Yes.
EU laws. Biggest
No, they
scam ever.
don't.
They have no EU.
They are. There is a lot of EU laws they still have to abide by, and they still have to ask the EU permission on. Like there was, for example, I know one of the topics I know that is affected on the big topic in the UK right now. Obviously, the immigration thing. There was one of the immigrants that was put in prison because he killed multiple people, and to stop him collaborating with some of the other people in there, he was put in prison. In um, I think it was solitary confinement, and he then put in a claim to the European Union saying that he was mistreated because he was put in solitary confinement and it was damaging to his health, something along those lines. And then the UK were forced to pay him because it was
But
EU law. If
the
we're not
UK
in,
doesn't the UK doesn't have to follow EU law, but uh, uh, when you are in the European Union, your own laws have to, let's say, they have to rhyme with the EU law.
Wait till I tell you the newest one.
Just because Britain exited the European Union, Britain still has the UK still has its laws. So it's the UK laws that has been influenced by the European Union when they were there. So because I guess that the UK doesn't change all their laws just because they exited the EU.
Yeah.
But then there's also the part that UK was part of the union, and the union is very large in Europe. So when you say I don't want to be with you anymore, the rest of the union is not going to be like, oh no, we're not going to feel like we're going to give you a lot of favors if you don't want to be with us. So you don't get to vote on what we want, and we have our own customs and trade agreements and stuff like that. So UK becomes left out, so to say. So
Oh, yeah.
becomes in kind of like a dependent position on the EU, because they have to seek the the EU countries' goodwill in order to have a functioning economy and stuff like that. So
And I tell you the latest one.
yeah,
The
what?
latest one in Ireland from the NG. These guys are arriving in on boats and just rocking up to claim asylum. The NGOs have now went to court on their behalf and said Abdullah rocked up. He got no legal counsel when he asked for political asylum. His rights were breached. The judge turned around and said, "There's 10 grand." Now the whole lot of them are doing it. A whole lot of them. 40,000. How much is that? 400 million?
Are doing what?
400,000? They are now entitled to compensation because they were not given legal access to legal persons when they rocked up, say, "I want political asylum." It was just
Yeah,
passed in the court there,
they
2 weeks ago.
if they are entitled to legal
They're
representation.
getting compensation.
No, yes, but if they are by law entitled to have a legal representative that understands the system, and they didn't
Yeah,
get one,
yeah.
then they are in the right.
Well, they rocked up in a bloody they should have landed in an airport and said, "Hey, I want political asylum." They didn't. They snuck in the back door. They have no rights, as far as I'm concerned. And
Yeah,
that's the issue here. Everybody else except us is getting away with murder. We
but
can't do no
if
rights.
the police nicked you, wouldn't you have the
I have
right
a
to have a
woman
legal counsel
I
appointed
have a
to you?
woman who lives 2 doors down from me, an elderly woman. Her daughter's house, if you Google it right now, you'll see her house is knocked down yesterday because she didn't have planning permission. 20 years to try to fight the battle. And yesterday on the news, 2 big bulldozers came in, and the house is probably in excess of 600,000. A lovely house, absolutely beautiful. Boom, leveled. She had no rights. But these guys can come in and get a new house tomorrow. So where's the justice?
What I just heard that she built the house without permission
They
and
did.
then fought it.
So you know that you're familiar with that case.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah,
Just from
retention
what
is
you said.
generally what you get. Yeah, what she gets is retention. You build a house, and if nobody complains after 6 years, that's fine. But if you ever want to sell it, you're in a bit of bother. You need to get retention planning, which is generally straightforward. But I don't know what exactly happened. But it took 20 years, and eventually they said, "No, knock it." And they knocked it the other day. And there's a arrest warrant there for her and her husband. She's in Spain somewhere. Anyway, before we wrap up here, because what time is it now? We're getting on. We're just going around the full circle back to bloody immigration problem again. We're supposed to stay away from that. Lewis, I blame you. But so look,
Lewis is muted and is talking
Well, I just,
without us.
he's
I just,
feeding the baby.
brought that up, because obviously with the European Commission and, the UK immigration, there's like a bit of a crossover there. And,
Yeah.
they're kind of arguing. So that's the reason why I brought it up. But, as an example. But yeah, no, it's, hey, Europe right now in the world is, in a
Every
very
day it's changing.
tension right across the board, not just on immigration, the inflation and war and
Wages are not increasing.
the threat of conscription and things like that. And I don't think a lot of people know what to do or where to go right now. Don't really want to plan anything because what if this happens? What if that happens? So I think it affects. I think a lot of people should be prepping right now. But the thing is, how do you prep for some of these things when everything's happening so quickly?
Can't prep for that much fuel. As I said, they're pushing
You
on
know?
electric cars, and they're gonna now they have a great. Now you should have done that before the diesel went up. That's
Mm.
and electric cars. If you bump your electric car and hit a sensor, the whole car locks down, and you have to get an engineer to come to you or a mechanic, and it costs you thousands to fix it. So where's the
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't even access an engine anymore. Some of the cars you can't get a dipstick. There's no dipsticks. You have to do it through the computers or through offline services.
That's why I like
Yeah.
my Volvo V.
I wouldn't mind a hybrid now. I'd go hybrid, but nothing goes wrong with the battery, you're screwed because it's a big, heavy car in fairness with batteries.
Yeah, I think hybrids are good, especially with you got the when it's like petrol and GPL, for example. Not so much electric, but
If I had enough room, I'd put a horse in the back garden.
yeah,
Up to the pub,
bit
no problem.
horsepower.
Horse and cart, back to that. Oh my god. That's the way we're going. Anyway, look at the times. Any final words before we rock up? Oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, people, if you're still there.
Yeah. I think that now more than ever, like it's the same thing. When you have a good plan, you don't have to change your plan because of the outside circumstances. So the world is looking worse now than it did a month ago, but we can still continue to prepare like we've always done.
Yeah.
We
Keep a
prepare
positive
by acquiring more knowledge, more skills. We keep our pantries filled. We secure our water supplies and stuff like that, and that makes us more resilient. And I don't think that right now, because of the situation in the Middle East, I don't think that Europe as a whole will see like a real crisis with shortages of essential stuff, but I see that we can have an economic crisis that can hit certain people really hard. And I also think that it can hit individuals that have specific needs. Like if you need a certain pharmaceutical, a certain medicine, or you need something very special to eat, or you have some other need that is very specific, and you have the bad luck to be in a situation where precisely what you need, that shelf is empty. That is what I think what we have ahead of us. So if you have these needs in whatever area it might be, I would say that it is a priority now to see that you have a buffer of that. If you have a certain medication that you absolutely need, can you have 3 months supply of that pharmaceutical? Get it. That's how I do it. But I always have that. I always have at least 3 months, probably more, of medicines that I need. So that's my take. If you have specific needs, have them checked out, have them squared away, if you will. And otherwise, just that prep as normal. That should be normal. And be prepared that we will have more inflation. The prices will go up, and it's
They're
gonna
going
suck.
up by the minute. It is gonna suck. It's gonna time to put on our big boy pants and suck it up.
Yep. Expect the worst and hope for the best.
On that note, I have to go as well, and I think, Sherlock, we will talk to you next week, the
Yeah.
most when,
Yeah.
we see
So
how we go next week. We're still alive.
we haven't said that,
Still alive.
but today is the 22nd of March, 2026. So hopefully you will hear this in a week from now.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Okay, it's
Yeah.
great talking to you guys again.
Yeah.
And
Thank
I
you,
will
guys.
love you and leave you. And take care then.
Yeah. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys later.
See you guys next time. Thank you.